Another week, another garbage Raw, okay? There's no point of wasting time. Let's just go ahead and get right into the video. The title of these Raw reviews, and even for the SmackDown reviews probably starting this week, is just going to be Raw is Complete and Utter Garbage, Part 31. Today is the 31st Raw that we've had this year. All 31 of them have been garbage to my memory, okay? There may have been one or two that were good, but that's being generous. All of these Raws have either sucked or been mediocre at best, and it's as simple as that. So the same effort that WWE creative puts into making these garbage shows every week, Triple Fraud is taking vacations while the show continues to plummet and be absolutely horrible and unwatchable. That is the amount of creative effort I'm going to put into the title of these videos. So yes, Raw sucks. Now first off, before I get into the review, I do want to say, first of all, okay, this is actually hilarious just thinking about this for a second, right? So I started watching this episode of Raw around like 8:50 to 9 p.m., somewhere in that range, okay? This is Eastern time. Now obviously that means I can, basically zoom through and skip through the ads, obviously, and further myself throughout the show. However, around 9:30 to 9:40, we were already completely caught up on watching the show, which basically means that literally nearly half the show is straight ads. You skip through the ads and you're already at the show. You're at the, I was timed up currently with the live taping. Like, what the heck is going on here, man? It just shows you how much filler garbage. I cannot tell you how many times I had to skip over Michael Cole or Corey Graves telling me about an ad or a sponsorship or this show's happening or that show's happening, or you have the Wheatley podcast, you know what I'm saying? Libation Station, what do you want to talk about? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are we doing at this point? Are you kidding me, bro? It is some of the most embarrassing content I've ever seen. The fact that you have a 2.5 to 3 hour show and 80% of it feels like, at least when you're watching it, are ads. And factually, it's around 50% is ads. It's like, dude, this is just unwatchable, man. So after 40 minutes of watching, I shut it off. An hour before it's going to end, most likely, because I do not care. This stuff is unwatchable live. You can't do it. I will catch up, obviously, as per usual, and watch what I missed and add it into the review, but this was an embarrassment. The opening segment itself is one of the dumbest things that I think I've ever seen. This Rollins faction is garbage. I don't even have to be like hyperbolic about it at this point. I think everyone knows this faction sucks. If you really think about the story dynamics and the depth that we had, for example, with the Bloodline, with Roman Reigns, the Usos, even Sol Sikoa, when Sammy Uso was in there, Paul Heyman being there as the wise man. There was so much character, so much more emotion, so much more entertainment value, and there was actually some dynamics, for example, where the Usos would eventually turn on Roman. After having that power for many years and being, kind of suppressed, they turned on him. Sol Sikoa had to come in as the enforcer and fight his own side of the family. Roman Reigns had to fight his own family while also maintaining his championship run. The whole time they had gravitas to the matches, Jey Uso and Jimmy Uso were amazing. They're the Usos, one of the greatest tag teams ever. They're entertaining. They had good matches. They had a great tag reign. It's just in the way it all culminated too at Mania 39 and the way Roman's reign culminated at Mania 40. The 4 years run that the Bloodline went on was absolutely awesome for them specifically. The title runs were great. The storylines were great. They were creative. The wise man played a role. Sami Zayn played a role. Jey Uso, Jimmy Uso played a role. And obviously Roman Reigns played the role. That is just how it works. That's what makes a great story and a great group. That, like Roman said a couple weeks ago on Raw, it wasn't a faction, it's a bloodline. You get me? And Triple Fraud thinks he can just go ahead and put Seth Rollins, have him have the B title, which is the World Heavyweight Championship. He gives him that belt and expects this to be Bloodline 2.0 or Evolution 2.0. You don't see a Batista here. I don't see a Randy Orton here. I don't even see a Triple Fraud here. I don't see a Ric Flair here. So what are you talking about? This is not Evolution 2.0. This is garbage 1.0. That's what this is. This faction sucks, man. There's no story. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed offer you nothing. What have they given you since WrestleMania this year? What have they given you, seriously? The Usos at least had championship reigns. They were trying to connect those and actually entertain us with their live mic promos and tell stories, which most of their stories and their promos were pretty good, you know what I'm saying, while they were champion. What are Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed fighting for? They are doing nothing. Nothing, man. It's like, what, this is just some of the dumbest stuff I've ever seen in my life, bro. Braun Breaker has no character. Bronson Reed has no character. Paul Heyman comes out and he doesn't even feel right in this faction because there's no chemistry here. There's no tangible aura to any of this. There's no entertainment value. None of it at all. So Paul Heyman comes out. He introduces himself as the GOAT. They're in Philly, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to the birds, you know what I'm saying? Fly, Eagles, fly. The Super Bowl champions were up in the building tonight in Philly, you dig? Now, Paul Heyman comes in and calls himself the GOAT because he's in Philly, so the ECW ties, and he calls himself God. Again, a few weeks ago on Raw, I think it was a month ago, Rusev had some type of backstage segment with Sheamus. I remember seeing this, and he literally told Jackie Redmond or Kathy Kelly, one of the two, he's like, some people called me God. What? When now Paul Heyman's out there, he's like, I am God. You're not God. You're a jobber. That's what you are. Rusev, nobody calls Rusev God. They call him jobber. They call him Miro. They call him a bottom barrel jobber, a mid-card jobber, whatever jobber you want to put attached to it. Then you have Paulithan Heyman. He comes out there, and what is he talking about? I am God. No, you're a jobber serving jobbers in a jobber faction. That's what Paul Heyman has been reduced to. He used to be a great talent, you know what I'm saying, and he was doing amazing work with the Bloodline, but since that ended, what has he done since besides effectively nothing? It's embarrassing, man. And then he talks about, he botched it, talking about Roman Reigns in the main event of this year's Mania. He messed up his words. It was kind of funny, but it is what it is. Then after that, he basically brings up like, well, what did he even talk? I can't even tell you because I don't care. Nobody cares. He's not saying anything. He hasn't said anything meaningful for months. He introduces everyone individually. Nobody cares about this, man. Then after this, Jey Uso comes out, and this is when things just got completely off the rails because this is just stupid. Jey Uso has not cut a good promo since 1967. This dude doesn't cut good promos, man, anymore. I don't know what happened to this dude. But he comes out and basically, he's yeeting with the kids. The kids get to say yeet on the mic, and they're yeeting with Jey Uso. Look at me, Mom. Look at me, Dad. I'm yeeting. Yeah. 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 No. That's what this is, man. I don't want to yeet with Jey Uso. Shout out to the kids because I'm sure they're having a ton of fun and this is an amazing moment for them and that's great. But as a viewer, watching this nonsense where Jey Uso has to take 15 minutes to yeet with kids in the crowd is getting unbearable. It's been unbearable, man. So he calls Braun Breaker. He basically says the same thing he normally does. He tries to get the crowd to, instead of saying yeet, he tries to get them to say, whoa, 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 hold on. He goes like, whoa, 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 and they tries to get the crowd to do it, and the crowd doesn't understand because the crowd are bots. So they continue to keep saying yeet after everything he says. He says, OG, I'm tired of you. And Braun Breaker, I'm tired of you too. You acting like you can't hear me. And he basically says that Braun Breaker is a puppy dog. And then the crowd yeets. And then he basically says, yeah, you a puppy dog. And now you're trying to ignore me. I beat Gunther at WrestleMania. And you lost to Gunther 2 months ago to lose the belt. But anyways, he says he beat Gunther at WrestleMania and says that he's a real one. Then stops, yeets, and then Paul Heyman gets back on the mic, glazes ECW and some of the greats in ECW, which is cool, I guess, but what place does that have in this promo? You know what I mean? And he does all that and then announces we're going to have an Extreme Rules match with Braun and Jey Uso. We've seen Jason Yeetman versus Braun Breaker, the collection of them fighting each other in either a tag match or a singles match at least 5 to 10 times on TV in the last year if you include tonight. And I'm not even joking. You can probably go look that up and you'll probably find that it's in that range, if not more matches than that. And that to me is embarrassing and it's uncreative. I am tired of the 50 billion rematches every week. It's getting unwatchable, man. Like, it's unacceptable at this point, bro. It really is. Anyways, we then move on from this, and we get to another garbage part of the night. Io Sky is now feuding with Asuka and Kairi Sane, because Asuka and Kairi Sane are upset, because Io Sky's character is written like a moron. She fights Raquel Rodriguez, which again, it's the same rematch garbage! Do you remember before SummerSlam when Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss were feuding with the Judgment Day? So you had Charlotte Flair versus Raquel Rodriguez, then Alexa Bliss versus Roxanne, and it was Alexa versus Raquel, and then Charlotte versus Roxanne. It's the same collection of matches, but this is supposed to be a PLE level feud for the tag belts. Now you have this, Io fights Roxanne. Then instead of doing a rematch, they finally have her fight Roxanne's teammate, and then Rhea Ripley comes out, so now we're going to see Rhea Ripley fight against Roxanne and Raquel for the 90th time. This is uncreative and it is garbage booking. It's not innovative. Do something unique. Maybe have Rhea Ripley go out there and maybe she actually gets beat up for once rather than her just coming out and jobbing out everyone else that continues to job out former world champions like Io Sky. It is unbearable to watch. After the match is done, because obviously Io Sky wins, Rhea Ripley comes out and this is my brutality. This is my brutality. I'm gonna take back my title. I never lost. Yeah. She comes out, helps Io Sky beat up Raquel and Roxanne. They start fleeing from the scene, and then Rhea Ripley stands tall with Io. We then get backstage and get one of the worst segments of all time, where literally lower the volume of your video for what you're about to hear. Io Sky is literally thanking Rhea for helping her. Before the match, Io Sky told Asuka and Kairi Sane not to help her. Now that Rhea helps her, she says thank you for it. That makes no sense, but again, we'll just move on from that and act like it doesn't. Now on top of that, Io Sky, after getting help from Rhea, thanks her, and Kairi Sane and Asuka walk up, and Asuka tells Rhea, do you have a problem? She can help you, but not me. And I'm like, what? Okay. And then all of a sudden, literally out of nowhere, they're talking with each other, saying a bunch of nonsense. Rhea and Asuka are just saying random statements. I don't even know what they're talking about. And then after that takes place, Io Sky literally just shouts. She just goes, stop. What are we doing? This is Monday Night Raw. What you just heard, as nonsensical as it was, that is what happened in the segment. There's no other way to go about it, man. So that's that. Then we move on from this. This segment, by the way, was garbage. It was cringe. It was stupid. At the end of it, Rhea Ripley looked at the wall where she got injured with Liv Morgan last year after Mania. I did notice that little tidbit there, that little reference. So I thought that was kind of cool. But again, nobody cares. We then move on to Xavier Woods, a New Day, come out there. Xavier Woods gets jobbed out by Penta. All three of them are sitting there. They don't even fight against Penta after the match. He just wins gracefully and walks away, and that's it. The New Day had one of the greatest heel turns in modern history in wrestling, and they get rewarded with Xavier Woods a few months after that. Now it's been 8-9 months since the heel turn, and a month or two since they lost the belts, and now they're getting jobbed out by Penta. That is enough said. We then got Mr. Iguana, I think is his name, or Iguana Man, whatever. Him and who was he fighting with? I think it was Dragon Lee. They fought against the Judgment Day. Nobody cares. The Judgment Day win, and they stand tall with the belts after brawling with El Hijo del Vikingo, I think was his name, or whatever. He comes out there, and then that's basically the end of the discussion. I mean, I don't know what else to say about this. It's a brawl segment. We get it every single week. There's no creativity, there's no nuance, no one cares. And by the way, as I'm making this vid and recapping what I missed, because now I'm in the talking about the stuff that I didn't watch live, right? This is the funny thing. When I go to check on the internet, right, to see what's slated, on WWE's Twitter, they literally announced that next week you're getting a bunch of rematches. You're going to get Rhea Ripley versus Roxanne Perez. You're going to get Kofi Kingston versus Penta. So you see what I'm saying? They take the same tag teams and a singles competitor and just flip-flop the matches and give you the same stuff. It's the same collection of stuff, just a different week. It really is. It's the same stuff, man. But yeah, that's the Judgment Day situation. Then we got Becky Lynch versus Natalya for the Intercontinental Championship. And obviously, Becky Lynch is not going to lose her belt here, so that was basically the situation. Afterwards, she tries to brawl with Maxine Dupree. And then Nikki Bella comes out in her Eagles gear. She basically goes out there and beats up Becky Lynch. And then afterwards talks a little bit of trash in her face. I don't really know what she's saying, but she's just talking some trash in her face, and she stands tall. So obviously I'm assuming this is leading to a Becky Lynch versus Nikki Bella match for the Intercontinental title. But obviously, that's the situation with that. Becky Lynch got beat up by Nikki Bella. We can move on. And after this, we had Naomi unfortunately announcing that she is going to be relinquishing her World Heavyweight Championship because she is expecting. So, congratulations to Naomi and Jimmy Uso. Obviously, you know what I'm saying? Big Jim, you know what I mean? They're going to have a baby, obviously, right? So Naomi has to put the title away. She does her little maniacal laugh during her promo. The crowd chants, "You deserve it." And normally I get really just tired of the "you deserve it" garbage chants. But the fact is that, look, the "you deserve it" chants are actually warranted here because Naomi has done a lot of great work recently. And quite frankly, I was actually curious and interested to see what her title reign was going to end off like, and how it was going to go. And I have not said that about any women's championship reign in the last year or two. So, I mean, the fact that Naomi was the one person I'll say that about tells you a good bit. So, yeah, definitely, it's unfortunate that Naomi has to relinquish her belt. But she does say at the end of the promo, she has some funny one-liners too. You know what I'm saying? She says that Big Jim loves to Netflix and chill, and another baby is being added to the bloodline. So I thought that was pretty funny. Cool little send off here. And obviously when Naomi comes back, she'll probably be first in line to fight for that world title and take back a title that she never lost. Yeah, so yeah, I'm looking forward to it. At the end of the promo, she basically says that, when she comes back, everyone is going to need to proceed with caution. Okay. And that's that. Then we get to the main event. Jey Uso is basically fighting Braun Breaker in a street fight. I could really care less about this match. The match is average at best, realistically speaking. And then obviously Roman Reigns comes out and returns for the 17th time. The reason why I don't really care, even though Roman's my favorite wrestler behind Cena, the fact is Roman Reigns returning doesn't really matter. In all seriousness, he's going to return and have a match at Clash in Paris, probably versus Braun Breaker or Bronson Reed. And then after that, he'll be disappearing again and go shoot his movie with the Street Fighter stuff. So it's he returns, leaves for 2 weeks after getting beat up, then returns, and then leaves again, and then returns. There's no new story depth or anything interesting or nuanced about any of this. I really don't, I'm being honest. I don't understand what the difference is here. Roman comes out and spears Braun Breaker from behind, Bronson Reed, or Superman punches him, and they stand tall because LA Knight and CM Punk beat up Seth Rollins earlier on in the night, and that was basically it. Jey Uso ends up getting the W after, splashing Braun Breaker through a table, and that's the situation with that. I don't really know what else to say about this. I'm not super excited about this because they have not given an ounce of creative effort into booking Roman Reigns since his return, literally since last SummerSlam. Be honest, he's had some great moments since his return last year at SummerSlam. I do agree with that, but overall in totality, there has been a massive degradation and degrading and downward spiral for this character. I'm just being realistic with you. At the end of the day, This dude was just one of the greatest champions in the history of the company. The fact that we are sitting here now and Roman Reigns is genuinely booked like a mid-card jobber, I have no words. How is he opening a SummerSlam? He just opened a SummerSlam that's 2 nights. He opened on night 1. Just think about that. What are we doing at this point, man? That's the biggest and best star in your company, and that is how you're treating him at this moment. And he constantly gets beat up by the Shula Fala tribal thief, and he gets beat up by Braun Breaker. So him being back is cool, but does it really matter in the long run? No, to me it doesn't. Until he actually fights for some world title gold, or they actually give him a good storyline that doesn't involve a belt, or just give him something. I don't know what to say about this. Triple Fraud is booking this dude into the ground, and it's very embarrassing to see. But overall, this Raw was borderline on unwatchable, and quite frankly, it was a pretty garbage episode. I'd give it like a 2 out of 10, and as I said at the beginning of the video, Raw is garbage. Part 31. I'm sure next week will probably be part 32. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts on Raw in the comment section below. Have a phenomenal day. Peace out and one love.